What's going on, folks? This is your boy Mitch of Mitchspiration, and today we are on episode 3 of Shift Talk, man. If you're new to my channel, my page is all about manhood, life, and motivation. So if those are 3 topics that are important to you, definitely hit that subscribe button, tap the bell notification so you don't miss out on any content that's headed your way. And also, I want to engage with you guys, so don't forget to like, comment, baby. I need to hear those things that you got to say so I know how to keep sprucing up and making things better on my channel. If you're returning, once again, thank you for sticking with me. As Jay-Z says, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and for that, I appreciate y'all. Just wanted to come to you guys for episode 3 of Shift Talk, and today's topic is called Don't Live for Minutes, Live for Moments, okay? I'm gonna say that again. Don't live for minutes, live for moments, right? So just to give y'all a little backstory about this topic, a couple years ago, I was in a rough space in my life, and I was kind of on a journey of discovering who I really am. And so to kind of get my thoughts out, I started a blog. And I blogged about this experience because I realized I was making the mistake of living for minutes and not living for moments. So this is actually a throwback for me. So I'm just bringing it back to y'all, and hopefully it enters y'all heartstrings and tugs on you and pulls on you the way it did mine. And it really changed my life, really shifted my life. And that's the whole purpose of Shift Talk, right? So let's get into it. All right, so think about this, guys. When people ask you, like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? 9 times out of 10, you're going to respond in a way that's focused on, well, when I'm this age, I want to be finished with this degree. I want to be doing this career. I want to be married by this age. I want to be a homeowner by this age. So what is that called? We're creating a timeline, right? So I want to challenge you guys to think about this. While timelines are great, they can also be detrimental. And as you know, I can't do no work without having my handy dandy laptop with my notes, because I really want to be intentional about this material that I present to you guys. So the first concept of don't live for minutes, live for moments is all about living by a timeline. So here is a positive that you can take away from living on a timeline. 1, timelines create structure, a standard, and goals to meet, right? So it's always good to have a plan. It's always good to create preparation. Like we talked about last week when we were talking about everybody not understanding your vision. Planning and preparation are a big part in being able to produce a product and then pop out with your success, right? So I think in the same way, when it comes to timelines, we have to make sure that we do have a structure for our life, because that's important. We don't need to be running around like a chicken with his head cut off, as we say in the South. We need to create a standard for ourselves. So not only academically, educationally, business, but also personally, mentally, physically, spiritually. We need to be contributing in our lives in a very holistic way, because life is a holistic process. While certain aspects might stand out more than others in different times in your life, doing things holistically is still very important. And also, it just creates a structure and goals to meet, all right? So that's a very simple concept. Just wanted to get to the point on that. Now, negatives. Timelines can be destructive. So here's an example. When you set a age to be married or an age to receive a degree, and you don't end up accomplishing it at that age, the effect is that you can feel defeated, unaccomplished, or consider yourself a failure. So for me, when I went off to college, my plan was to graduate in 4 years. Well, I ended up having to stay an extra year because I changed my major. What I thought I wanted to go to school for, once I got into that degree path and started taking those classes, I didn't find joy in the work. I didn't see as much value in the work. Not saying that that career path isn't valuable, but I just knew that wasn't for me. So what did I have to do? Change my major. So when you change your major, it's probably going to push you to put in more time, which means you'll have to extend your potential graduation date, which is what happened for me. So I started school in fall of 2006. I didn't graduate until spring of 2011. Ages to be married. I don't want to make this a gender thing, but I do know a lot of women are very focused on being married at a certain age, and that could be for, you know, pregnancy purposes. We know the statistics about how pregnancy can go down, or potential for a successful pregnancy can go down with you going up in age. But for me, I never really set an age requirement for marriage. I just wanted to be in the right place for marriage and be confident in the person who I was with. So me, I got married this year, January 1st, and I'm 33 years old. So I still consider myself very young. I don't think being in your 30s and getting married is too late. I feel like marriage is beautiful regardless of the age. So I personally wouldn't put an age requirement on that. But also degrees. I got my undergrad degree in 2011. I also got my master's this year in 2022. That's an 11-year difference, y'all. But even though I wanted to go to grad school sooner, there were levels of life I needed to achieve. There was a certain maturity I needed to have to approach the program correctly. And so while some people can graduate from undergrad and go straight into grad school, that's not everybody's story. The good part is school ain't going nowhere. So if you got to go out and get some experience in your field and then go back to grad school, by all means do it. Sometimes that plays to your advantage more than just going from undergrad to grad school, because you can connect concepts better. And I think that's what helped me connect concepts better, and which helped me graduate with summa cum laude honors and finish as one of the top students in my program. So even though you're not hitting these benchmarks at the age you designated, all is not lost, okay? All is not lost. There's still opportunities for these things to come into fruition, but it might take something different happening in order for that to take place. So just because you didn't get married at 25, just because you didn't get a master's degree at 22, just because you didn't get your first home until you were 30, like, it doesn't matter. Life has a way of teaching us lessons that we need to know to prepare us for where we're going. So remember that, all right? So just because those things don't happen, yes, you may feel defeated, but don't sit in that defeat. Continue to push, continue to move forward. Also, just because you didn't finish it in that timeline, it doesn't mean you're not able to accomplish goals. There are always goals we need to be setting. Some will be accomplished quicker than others. Doesn't mean you can't accomplish goals. Doesn't mean you're not a failure. So my message to you guys in these situations is to simply keep going. Keep pushing. Don't stop. Don't get stagnant. If it didn't happen when you wanted to, use that as a motivation to grind even harder to go get what you need, all right? So that's the first point. Living by a timeline can be positive or negative, but even if it ends in a negative outcome, you are not a failure, okay? So now we're going to move on to the beauty of moments. So that timeline piece was kind of about like the minutes metaphorically. Now we're going to talk about moments. All right, here's the beauty of what moments provide. Number one, moments provide our strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, passions, emotions, drive, and etc. All these things are results of moments. Life is all about experiences, and experience happen through different moments. When we experience things, it better cultivates who we are, what we're passionate about, what we will stand for, what we won't stand for, who we're going to connect ourselves with, who we're going to do life with. All these things matter. Even me, I'm walking into being a parent soon, so I think about all the moments in which I was parented, things I took from it that I want to impart in my son that's coming, and things I want to leave behind and kind of modify if I can. So it takes these moments to happen to really discover the entirety and the beauty of life, okay? So don't get discouraged in these times. Like, these moments are always here to teach you something. So there's always a lesson to be learned. Like I tell people all the time, one of my favorite quotes is, I'm a student of life and there's something new to learn every day. I'm gonna say that again. I'm a student of life and there's something new to learn every day. So yes, moments teach us about our strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, passions, emotions, drive, all of these things. And I challenge you guys to really sit back and take time to think about the moments that have cultivated who you are. How did you feel in those spaces? How were you excited to make those changes? Did a discouraging moment improve who you could be? Did it expand your capacity for greatness? Those are the things I want you to take time to think about, because those moments matter, all right? Number two, which I've kind of already alluded to, moments always provide lessons, regardless of the circumstance being good or bad. Lessons provide opportunities for growth. One of the greatest foundations for life is the ability to grow. You can't be at 20 who you were at 16. You can't be at 30 who you were at 25. Within that time, you should have experienced enough minutes and enough moments to know that, hey, I gotta grow. I gotta really get out here and do what I need to do to get to where I need to be. So if you're looking at yourself now at 25, 26, and you don't see much difference from who you were at 20, I kind of feel like it's a problem. So you really need to sit back and evaluate your goals. You may need to realign who you are and who you see yourself being and what changes need to happen. And a lot of those changes, bro, we can't even put on other people. A lot of the changes that we need to make start with us. The greatest way of keeping it real is keeping it real with yourself. You should never be in a situation where somebody else can tell you more about you than you can tell yourself about yourself. So if somebody comes up to you and say, hey, I noticed when this happens, this is how you respond, you should already know that. That should just be a confirmation that that's something that you need to work on. There should never be a moment where somebody calls something out about you and you're just so offended because you never saw it. No, you need to be looking at and evaluating yourself on a consistent basis, because 9 times out of 10, you should be able to pinpoint and troubleshoot the problems you have, and before anybody else can get that opportunity. So like I said, when they do approach you about it, you can receive that in love, and you can put in the work to make sure that you're being the best person you can be. All right? Then the last point, like I said, I'm working on not being too long with these things. So this is my last point. Overall, what is the overall lesson that I'm expressing in this Don't Live for Minutes, Live for Moments session today for episode 3 of Shift Talk? The lesson is simply this: don't get so caught up in timelines that you miss out on the simple things life has to offer. Don't get so caught up in timelines that you miss out on the simple things life has to offer. Some of us are remedial. Let me say it one more time. Don't get so caught up in timelines that you miss out on the things life has to offer. All right? If you get so focused on not hitting the mark, you're going to continue not hitting marks, because you're allowing one circumstance to consume every aspect of your life. Once doubt sets in, it takes you over. Doubt can lead to fear. Fear can lead to less self-worth. Less self-worth can lead to depression. You can literally funnel yourself into a deeper hole that it'll take you more time to come out of, as opposed to just taking your L, which we all need to learn how to do. It's okay to take an L, because an L can turn into a lesson, all right? And that's what it is saying. You got to learn how to continue to push forward even when things don't go your way. As y'all already know, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. So when I feel like things aren't going my way, that must mean there's a more higher divine path I need to be following. And in those moments when I try things my way and it don't work, I'm like, all right, God, what do you need me to do? So then I'm focusing in on listening to God's voice, making sure I'm where I need to be to receive what's coming my way, or to have more instruction on how to go about getting what I need to get. All right. So this is a very practical episode today. I didn't want to make it too deep, but I want you guys to understand that it's okay to set goals. It's okay to have a timeline. If you hit those things, amazing. If you don't, you're still an amazing person. It doesn't change who you are when the timeline doesn't make sense. A lot of time you need those diversions of time to go and grow and do things that you need to do to get better. Like I shared, I graduated undergrad and didn't get my master's until 11 years later. If I would, now looking back, if I would have went straight into grad school after finishing undergrad, I probably wouldn't have made it through my program. It's a strong chance I would have got kicked out. And I'm just keeping it real, because my work ethic still wasn't the best. My way of comprehending information still wasn't the best. There's still some things I needed to mature and grow in, like I said earlier in this episode. So I want you guys to really internalize this information. So at the end of the day, it's just super important that while it is important to plan and have plans and standards, it's okay to divert from those things, because it'll still lead you where you want to go if it's really for you. And that's one thing I want you to understand as well. Some of the things that you want for yourself may not be good for you. Not for the person you are now, but for the person you are in the future. So you might want a job that pays you bukus of money, but that money might change you later. So maybe you get put on a path where you're making good enough money to pay bills, still have fun and do things like that, but it's allowing you to remain humble. It's allowing you to still focus on being people-centered instead of self-centered. And so things happen for a reason, guys, and we need to always be on one journey, and that's the journey of growth, because growth is what's going to make us better, and growth is what's going to keep us pushing to be our best selves and the best for other people. So with that being said, I love you guys. Thank you for sticking with me. This has been episode 3 of Shift Talk. And remember, guys, don't live for minutes, live for moments. Peace.